A rancher's single act of kindness led to a moment neither of them could forget. Today, we uncover how one decision changed everything. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Tell us, where are you watching from? Let's get started. It was a scorching Texas afternoon when Emily Carter's rental car rolled to a reluctant stop outside a lonely gas station off Highway 87. The heat shimmered across the pavement, bending the horizon into a wavering mirage. Emily, a newly hired magazine photographer from Dallas, had spent the entire day chasing rural landscapes for her upcoming feature on life in the American heartland. She hadn't expected her work trip to end with a dying battery and a dead cell phone signal. Inside the station, the bored cashier barely lifted his eyes from his phone before lazily telling her that no one around offered roadside assistance that far out. Stepping back outside, Emily felt the weight of her situation settle on her chest. The sky was beginning to turn gold, shadows stretching across the ground, and she was miles from the nearest town. As she debated whether to walk for help, a dusty pickup truck pulled into the lot, its engine rumbling low and steady. Out stepped a tall rancher, boots coated with dried soil, hat tilted low enough to shade his sharp, sun-browned features. He noticed her stranded beside her silent car and approached with an easy confidence that instantly eased her nerves. You in a bind, ma'am? He asked, his voice warm, steady, and unexpectedly kind. Emily explained the situation, embarrassed at how helpless she sounded. Without hesitation, he offered to take a look. He popped her hood, examined the cables, and nodded. Batteries drained. Nothing serious. When she asked what he recommended, he simply said, "I'll jump it." There was no hesitation, no expectation, just a calm determination to help. He brought his truck around, connected the cables expertly, and within minutes the engine roared back to life as if nothing had happened. Emily immediately reached for her wallet, insisting on paying him for his trouble. But the rancher pulled back with a gentle shake of his head. "Why'd you pay? Just to do it?" he said. "Helping someone out isn't a transaction." His tone wasn't proud or self-important, just honest. It surprised her more than she expected. In a world where generosity so often came packaged with hidden motives, his sincerity felt startling. She stared at him for a long moment, realizing she didn't even know his name. When she asked, he tipped his hat slightly and introduced himself as Luke Bennett, a local rancher whose family had worked land nearby for generations. As he prepared to leave, dust swirling around his boots, something lingered in the air, something unspoken but undeniably real. Emily thanked him again, and he simply replied, "Drive safe. These roads get lonely after dark." Before she could blink, he climbed back into his truck and pulled away, leaving her watching the taillights fade into the long Texas highway. She couldn't explain why, but she felt a strange pull, as if the brief encounter had shifted something inside her. She started her car, the engine humming strong, yet her thoughts remained fixed on the rancher who helped her when no one else cared. 2 weeks later, Emily found herself driving down a narrow farm road, dust trailing behind her rental car as she followed the GPS coordinates her magazine editor had sent. She was scheduled to photograph a real working ranch for an article about modern American agriculture. It felt like ordinary work until she saw the weathered wooden sign standing proudly at the entrance. Bennett Ranch, St. 1946. Her breath caught. Of all the ranches in Texas, fate had led her back to the one belonging to the stranger who helped her that day. She stepped out, heart hammering, unsure whether she was ready for what destiny had arranged. Luke emerged from the barn, wiping his hands on a faded towel. Surprise flashing across his face before transforming into something lighter, warmer. "Well," he said with a slow smile, "look, who decided to visit?" Emily laughed awkwardly, explaining her assignment and how she had no idea this ranch was his. Luke didn't miss the irony. Without hesitation, he offered to show her around, and the two of them walked across the ranch as if they had known each other for years. Horses grazed peacefully, cowbells clinked softly in the distance, and the golden Texas sunlight seemed to settle comfortably over the moment. As Emily worked, capturing the rugged authenticity of ranch life through her lens, Luke observed her quietly, admiring the way she immersed herself in every detail. He answered her questions about cattle, heritage, and the challenges of ranching, his voice steady but humble. Emily found herself drawn to the honesty in his words, a refreshing contrast to city life's constant smoke and mirrors. With every step, she saw not just land, but the generations of stories etched into the fences, the barns, the calloused hands of the man walking beside her. She felt unexpectedly safe, grounded in a way she hadn't felt in a long time. When evening settled and the sun dipped behind the rolling hills, Luke invited her to stay for dinner. She accepted without hesitation. Inside the warm kitchen with its wooden cabinets and the scent of stew simmering on the stove, conversation flowed easily. They shared childhood memories, failures, dreams they kept hidden from the world. Emily hadn't laughed that freely in years. As she helped him clear the table, her gaze landed on an envelope resting on the counter, addressed in careful handwriting, "To the girl I helped at the gas station." Her heart tightened. She asked if it was meant for her, and Luke nodded, suddenly shy. Asterisk Emily picked up the envelope but didn't open it. Instead, she looked at him with a softness she couldn't hide. Luke, why did you write this? His answer was simple. Because I don't meet many people who make the world feel brighter just by being in it. And when fate brought you here, I figured maybe it was my turn to take a chance. The honesty in his voice wrapped around her like a warm blanket. She stepped closer, her breath unsteady, the moment charged with a silent truth neither could deny. Before she could second-guess the feeling, she wrapped her arms around him and whispered, Luke, I don't want this night to end. And he held her like he'd waited his whole life for her to say that.